Hi Math 6-5, this is lesson 98, which was the last lesson scheduled for Monday, March 23rd. You did your time test with lesson 96, so we can start straight into the lesson. This lesson deals with negative numbers. When we look at a number line, like the one I have drawn here, if we remember a number line, we draw the arrows at the ends because the line goes on and on and on. The numbers keep getting larger and larger and larger over here. And over here, we have the negative numbers, and that line also continues to go on and on and on, and the numbers continue to get smaller and smaller and smaller. So if we look at my number line, we see 0 here as the point, the starting point, and from 0 to the right, all those numbers are positive numbers. From 0 over to the left, all these numbers that continue on and on are negative numbers. 0 is the number that is neither positive nor negative. Okay, the rest of the numbers are either positive, or if they're over here, they are negative numbers. So if we look at our number line, and we were supposed to draw our number line and put a dot on -3. I would draw my number line. Now you could stop your number line right after -3 if you want, but I'm going to use the number line that I have. If I need to put a dot at -3, I know that I'm going to be to the left side of 0 because that's where my negative numbers are. And I'm going to come over here and put my dot on -3. Okay, now this number, you read it as either -3. In this case, you read it as -3. If it were on a thermometer and it were a negative number, you would read it as -3, which we'll get into that in just a minute. But I wanted to go ahead and talk about how you read that number. So for a number line, we read this as -3. So if I put some points on here, we'll call this point A, we'll call this point B, and this will be point C. If I need to say what number is at point A, I would look at my number line and follow across to the -5 spot is where point A is. So point A is located at -5. Now if I'm asked, what does point B represent? Notice I was on the negative side for A. Now I'm moving to the right side of 0 for B, which are my positive numbers. So what number does point B represent on my number line? Point B, if I follow, goes 1, represents point 2. That is a positive 2. You don't have to write a plus in front of it. You just write 2, and we know that it's positive in this instance. If it's a negative number, notice we write the negative sign or the minus sign in front of it. For a positive number, I can just write the number. Now for point C, if I need to know where point C is located, I look at my number line, and I can always start at 0 because that's neither negative or positive. And I can go 1 to the right of 0, which is so C is located at -1. Okay, so that tells me what point on my number line each of those letters represent. So one of the ways, there's a couple ways you'll see negative numbers used. At this point, you'll see them related to temperature, typically. When the temperature is below 0, you'll see them also related to money. So let's talk about, if this was example 1 up here, let's look at example 2 and say that you borrow money from your sister. And you borrowed $5. Okay. Now, this $5 is money you don't have, okay? So you were at 0 and you borrowed $5 from your sister. This is called a debt. So you have a debt of, let me erase that, I don't want that to confuse you. A debt of -5, okay? I don't want to put it, okay, sorry, I'm not trying to confuse you with the parentheses. So you have a debt of -5. You have a debt of -$5, basically. You owe your sister $5 that you did not have. So when you borrow money that you did not have, it becomes a debt in the amount of what you've borrowed. So if I had a debt of, let me do another example, a debt of $300, and I need to use a negative number to write that. The negative number, so I had $0 and I borrowed $300 from someone else. That means I owe them that $300 back. So I am at -300. That is my negative number to represent my debt. Okay. So that is a way you will see negative numbers used with money. When you have a debt, you have a negative amount of money. You owe someone $5, you are -$5. You owe, or -5. You owe someone $300, you are -300. So the other example where we see negative numbers, we don't see them much in Texas, but some parts of the world see it in temperature. This one, because I'm not going to be able to draw you a good thermometer, I'm going to pull our book into this one here. So this one, if I look at it, it says to look at this thermometer here and find out what temperature is indicated. Okay, I'm covering up the solution because we don't need to worry about that yet. We need to understand what we're looking at right here first. Okay, so we have, first we need to look at and see we are in degrees Celsius, okay? So 0 degrees Celsius we know is freezing. So as we come, we could go up, here's 10 degrees, we come down, it's -10 degrees. So it's like our number line. You could look at it if you wanted to. You could turn your book to look like a number line if you needed to. Let me make sure the thermometer's still in the video. It is. So anything to the left or lower than 0 is the negative numbers. Anything to the right and higher than 0 is your positive numbers, just like we did on our number line. So if we are looking at it and trying to find out what temperature is this thermometer pointing to, we know it's not going to be between 0 and 10, -10. It's going to be somewhere between -10 and -20. Okay, so the numbers we have to find out. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 divisions for that 10 degrees. So we know that each division, each little tick mark, we have 5 tick marks to cover 10 degrees. So the 10 degrees covered in 5 tick marks would be 2 degrees per tick mark. So we can count from there and say this is -10. And so as we get further away from 0, this would be pointing to -12 degrees. And just to keep going, we would have -14 degrees, -16 degrees, -18 degrees, and then the big line here is -20 degrees. So for this problem, what temperature is indicated on this thermometer? On this particular thermometer, we are sitting at -12 degrees Celsius. So your answer, if you were to write that on paper, for example 2, would be -12 12 degrees Celsius. So you're writing the negative number plus the number it's at, and you're remembering to include your units of degrees Celsius. So another way to say negative 12 degrees Celsius, another way you will see it said is 12 degrees below 0. That it would be the words format. Sorry, my paper sideways a little bit. So negative 12 degrees Celsius is one way to say this. 12 degrees below 0 is another way to say the same exact temperature. If we look back at our thermometer and we have 0 here, and we look at that, we have 2, negative 4, negative 6, negative 8, negative 10, negative 12. So if we look at the thermometer, 12 degrees below, the temperature is at 12 degrees below the 0 mark. So it could be, say, negative 12 Celsius or 12 degrees below 0. Remembering that for Celsius, freezing is at 0. You keep in mind for your practice problems, you will have, in fact, here it is. I think I can, let's see, can I slide it up in the frame? Letter C. You will have 12 degrees below 0 on the Fahrenheit scale. So just keep that in mind on this one. You're still below 0. It's not dealing, it didn't say 12 degrees below freezing. That's the point I wanted to make here, because we all know that freezing on our Fahrenheit scale is 32 degrees. So keep in mind when you're doing this problem and you're writing your temperature and your digits and your words and stuff, that you are not dealing with below freezing. You're dealing with below 0. That's an important distinction to make on that problem. So that pretty much covers everything on lesson 98 with negative numbers. Just remember that when you borrow money, your book is going to refer to it as a debt. It's going to ask you to use a negative number to write that debt. And so we did that right here. And it's going to ask you to look at a thermometer and tell us what the temperature is. We've done that right here. And it's going to ask you to plot on a number line, or to, well, it'll ask you to plot on a number line the negatives and positives. It'll also have letters plotted and want you to tell us what the answer is there. So that is about negative and positive numbers for now. That is about all of it. Your practice problems for this are located on, let's see, practice problems are on page 509 and 510. Don't forget, it's like A through F. So be sure you turn the page and get both sides of that. And if you have any questions, give me a call or text me or email me. I'm around and can help you out. I'm doing these with London too, so if there's anything you need me to help you out with, I could do maybe a quick video with you if you had any questions. And I hope you're all doing good. And that covers everything for Monday. I will have a new set of videos for Thursdays. Let's see, Thursday we have two, let me look here. We have 99 and 100 that will be my Thursday videos.